Hey y'all, man. It's week 3 NFL, man. We got a great show for you all today. I got Parlay Pete and Major Parlay coming back. We had a pretty good week on the gambling slate. We're going to talk about that later on. We're going to talk a little Brady Belichick, Pete Carroll versus Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers versus the media. What I think are the worst 2 rules in football, some too early MVP predictions. Then we'll get into our report card. And then we'll get into our picks for this week, and then I will close it out with a monologue on the conveniently capitalist owners in the NFL. But let's start with an urban myth. The urban myth: when the going gets tough, urban gets going. And it's not like the old phrase we heard growing up when, like, you actually get going. You get ready when the stuff gets going. No. Urban flees. While at Florida, he dominated. Then Saban shows up. A couple of allegations about some misconduct by some players happens. What does Urban do? He takes a break. Then he's at Ohio State. Yeah, he wins the Natty. They're dominating the Big Ten. But as soon as hell's about to come, what does he do? He gets going again. And now he's in the NFL. 0-2, obviously. And what does he tell Vic Fangio? It's like playing Alabama every week. Well, no shit, Urban. You're in the NFL. You're playing against the best of the best. There's no more beating up on Harbaugh at Michigan. There's no more playing against Iowa. You're not playing against Ohio University Bobcats or whatever the hell they are. You're playing against the best of the best. But the 2021-2022 Jaguars were failed from the start. They were going to fail. When you take a coach who is an egotistical, dictatorial, just tone-deaf coach who's never lost, and then you throw that with a quarterback who hasn't been an underdog since he dressed up as underdog for Halloween in 2004, what do you expect to happen? They're not used to taking the lumps of the NFL. And for my Cartersville crowd, this is not a knock on Trevor Lawrence because I'm rooting for him. I just hate that he has who he has coaching him. I mean, just look at his staff, man. Just look at his staff. His assistant head coach is oh my God, Charlie Strong. Charlie Strong was a great coordinator. He had a nice run at Louisville, but he has no NFL experience, and this is his 38th year coaching. Look at his offensive coordinator, Darrell Bevell. Is anybody clamoring to have Darrell Bevell as their coach? No. He's going to be a career coordinator, and he's probably going to end up being a passing game coordinator after he gets fired here and the Jaguars are awful. Then his passing game coordinator, Brian Schottenheimer. Not Marty, Brian, who was just Russell Wilson's offensive coordinator, and we got rid of him because he was stale. And these are the hires that he made expecting to do what? Win in the NFL? It's bad enough he inherited one of the worst rosters in the league. Then he makes terrible coaching hires. Oh, yeah, remember the strength and conditioning coach from Iowa that he tried to hire. Like, oh, this is going to be a good idea. Or bringing in Tim Tebow. Like, yeah, man, he's a hard worker. He's competitive. So what? He sucks. And you just see these decisions over and over again. And then last week, Urban comes out and says that he's not using pieces of Clemson's offense to make things easier for Trevor because he wants Tim to learn how to be a professional quarterback. When most rookie quarterbacks are using an offset of the scheme that they were using in college. I mean, hell, Kyler Murray got Cliff Kingsbury a job just because they were like, you know what? These two work well together. But you want to teach him how to be a professional quarterback. How about you learn how to be a professional coach, Urban? How about that? But anyways, let me bring in my guest so we can get talking about football because I don't want to just go in on this Urban myth. Urban Meyer was going to be a great hire in the NFL. Yeah, right. Go to USC, Urban. Is the job's open now? Just take the job at USC that you wanted, Urban. What's up, guys?
Ten.
Howdy do, big baby, the GOAT.
I'm doing well, man. Pierce, didn't we talk about Urban not working like in the offseason when it happened?
You know, it's one of those things where, we've really truly only seen in NFL history that I can truly just name off the top of my head two coaches that have come and have transitioned the success that they had in college directly to the NFL. So from there, you're already getting a sense of it's typically that's a bad hire because it never works out. And those two coaches that, came from college to the NFL with no prior, well, I guess Pete did have NFL experience before them, but it was a forgettable experience. Pete Carroll, who's obviously won a Super Bowl, and Jimmy Johnson, who's won a Super Bowl. So I don't think, Urban Meyer getting hired and giving him a rookie head coach, you got Shad Khan as at this point, I almost know Shad Khan is the AEW guy, because that seems to be what he's really putting his money into, because now they're starting to make a lot of noise. I don't even watch wrestling anymore, but I'm aware of it. And I know that they've got, legends and stuff. But anyways, him hiring Urban Meyer was more of a splash thing, just like Urban bringing in Tim Tebow was a splash thing. I don't think anyone really thought these guys would make some noise. And, of course, Trevor Lawrence is a rookie. There was going to be those rookie kinks that he was going to go through. But all in all, I mean, you hit the nail on the head with the way that you started. Urban is a guy that comes and goes. That's his MO. He's proven it time and time again. And I feel sorry for him, but I'm really happy for USC, though. They're going to get a great college coach.
You got anything, JP?
I just think they're both rookies. So Urban's not a rookie, but I agree. It's just a splash. He's just there to make a headline and get some NFL experience.
Who wants to go to Jacksonville and live? Sorry, Jew. Happy you got out of there.
He's probably more pissed now in Norfolk, but
yeah. So one big headline I've been seeing this week was, did Bill Belichick make a mistake by letting Tom Brady go? And for me, in the moment, I was like, no, get him out of here. He's cooked. I went on a rant before last season saying, Bruce Arians, you got an old school G-Wagon with no gas in it with Brady and Gronk, and you might get to the Super Bowl, you might get to the playoffs, but your gas lights on, you're going to end up empty. Well, slaps me right.
Tom Brady out, I could see, because he was slowing down for a minute. But how'd you ever count Gronk out?
I just thought he was too hurt and he just wasn't going to be able to.
He was super injury prone. Yeah. I mean, he seemed to always get injured. Hell, one of the things that people forget is that when the Falcons lost, and I always have to get the Falcons in on the podcast, when the Falcons lost to them in the Super Bowl, Gronk didn't even play in that game. He got hurt earlier in that season. He didn't play with them the whole playoffs. So, it was easy to kind of look at it that way. Plus, but he was a little bit younger. It was just a matter of if he could stay healthy.
Yeah. So Nick Wright came and said this was one of the biggest sports mistakes since Babe Ruth, and I go, that seems a bit extreme. And then Cowherd, he countered him he said, I kind of look at it like the way we look at some of the stuff that happened during COVID. You're dealing with something that's never happened before, and I can't be upset with you for being wrong here because Tom Brady was 40. He's 44 now? Gronk was hurt all the time, so why not move on a season early instead of a season too late?
Well, and then for what it's worth, with Gronk, Gronk was retired anyways, and so he wasn't even there with Brady that last year. He had already retired after they beat the Rams in the Super Bowl. And at that point, when they did trade him and Brady was already in Tampa, obviously there was some wink. Hell, the commercial is out where, Tom was fucking FaceTime telling him, get your ass down to Florida, man. You know what I mean? We got something here. We can do what we want here. You know what I mean? You can't do what you want in New England. And I think that was really where the headbutting went. It was Tom wanted things a certain way. Bill wanted them another. They already had all that success. And, Tom winning the Super Bowl was just kind of him just sticking it to him and saying, fuck you, old man. I can win without you. And you're going to not make the playoffs without me. And you're going to regret this. But the COVID, definitely, to me, it did affect last season to where, I mean, I'm not saying Tampa wouldn't have won, but we really don't know. But it did affect the season, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
You got Tom Brady in there with no crowd noise, making whatever decision he wants. I think that makes the game a lot easier for him.
Yeah.
Like Peyton Manning on the line with no noise.
Yeah.
And
then
I heard a stat today that that visiting teams last year or home teams lost more games than visiting teams last year. So what's home field advantage?
Well, I mean, that adds to it. If there's no crowd noise, then away teams are probably going to do a little bit better. They're coming in there. They got full operational control of their line. That's Mike. No false starts. Everything's running.
So to keep it on this coach quarterback thing, right? We got another marriage that you would think would mirror that kind of does mirror the Brady Belichick dynamic. You have a coach who was good and respected, but not necessarily who they are today prior to getting this quarterback. The quarterback was once carried by great defenses, then eventually came into their own and became a superstar quarterback. And you got Pete Carroll versus Russell Wilson. Now, as you all know, I'm not the biggest Russell Wilson fan here, but Russell Wilson is a top 4 quarterback in this league. Just no questions asked, maybe top 3, depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
Pete Carroll is in that same stratosphere as coaches in this league, as far as I'm concerned. He's done what Urban can't do. But Russ, Russ, go Hawks. Yeah, let's go Hawks. And Pete chewing his gum 200 miles per minute. They've had some beef in the past couple of years. Russ has been like, hey, yo, I'm tired of throwing the ball only on 3rd down. I would like to throw the ball a bit more often. Let Russ cook. Then he puts out the 4 teams that he would go to if he were to leave Seattle. And all of this stuff is public. And I joked that he's going to be the next quarterback of the New York Football Giants because Sierra has to get out of Seattle. Like she can no longer live there. Like her celebrity is dying in Seattle. But Pete called out Russ for really the first time of recent memory for a decision that he made in overtime. And I don't know if y'all caught, Russ came back and said, hey, the ball was inches for being completed. I'm not changing my process. That was the right decision. So a little feistiness, after they had their kumbaya this summer working things out. But we had a conversation in a group text about who does Pete Carroll think he is to call out Russ. And I'm like, he's a Hall of Fame coach. He can call out his quarterback. I mean, hell, his quarterback's embarrassed him in the public for the last 2 summers. I think Pete Carroll has the right to say, hey, I saw something I didn't like, and, I'm going to address it. JP?
I think that's fair, but I'll never forget this, and nobody's called Pete out enough for this. Is that backwards or you can read it? It's literally one of I might put it at the 2nd worst coaching decision I've ever seen in the Super Bowl, followed behind the Falcons passing on 3rd down when they were in field goal range, getting sacked and never scoring another point.
Did Darrell Bevel call that play?
You mean for the Seahawks? Yeah. Yeah, that was Bevel's call.
Good call, Urban.
That was Bevel's call. But you notice nobody really blames Russ for that Super Bowl. Not a lot of people are like, yeah, Russ threw a pick. You know what I mean? Yeah. Matt Ryan gets a ton of blame for not checking out of a couple of different plays in that Super Bowl when his answer to it, of course, was we were doing this all year with Kyle, so why would I change it now?
And the out to Sanu was a 1st down, but they called a holding call. Let's not forget about that.
To me, like I said, and I don't, because I know we're talking Pete and Russ.
Hold it. I mean,
but to me, you go back and watch that stuff. Jake Matthews deserves a lot of blame for what happened in that Super Bowl.
Absolutely.
How many times have you watched that Super Bowl? I pray for
the
your heart.
game itself. I've only watched it the day that we were walking. I went back. I've seen the what's his fucking name? Julian Edelman catch 15, 20 times. Just that whole last series on offense for both.
It's magical.
I've watched a lot, and so
let's get back to Pete and Russ. Do we think there's some smoke in the city?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Without a doubt. And the only thing, and we know what cures that, winning cures all, but
they're going to be 30.
In this case, I don't even know. Let me see. Who does Seattle have? And they're in a division too this year where they could be currently at 1-1, they're in last place by themselves. So it was already a good division last year because you had 2 playoff teams, including them, who won the division. But they're not as to me they're not as talented as the other teams in that division, and so it's gonna be an uphill battle for them. It's gonna be tough sledding, but I definitely believe that there's some smoke there, and where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think that this is just kind of the start of it. I could see them easily, they're going to be a competitive team because they've got Russ. You know what I mean? When you've got a top 5 quarterback, you're going to be competitive. There's no doubt about that. Even if you don't have a winning record, you're going to be competitive. And have a chance to win every game. And so I could see them, possibly being an 8-9 team. I think we did that in the first show where we kind of went through it. And I was telling you, I said, I don't think Seattle's going to make the playoffs. I said them and the Steelers both. 2 teams that have never, under Mike Tomlin and under Russell Wilson, neither of those teams have ever had losing records. And so I said, I think that they're both going to have losing records this year. And granted, like I said, we got a small sample size, but it's looking like it's coming to fruition because there's just smoke all around both of them. You could tell Mike wants to get rid of Ben, and you could tell that Pete doesn't want to, or Russ doesn't want to work with Pete anymore.
Yeah, man. Like I say, this is Danny Dimes' last year as the quarterback of the New York Giants. Let's get ready to get those Russell Wilson number 3 New York Football Giants jerseys. He's going to bring them back to prominence. And let me
tell you, with him, they really would be good. If you look at it, they got so much talent. If Saquon Barkley can just be
healthy,
you know what I mean? Like, they have so much talent. Like, I don't think that there's a better 4 wide receiver set in the NFL than the Giants.
Some would argue, but I'm not going to.
4 wide receiver, no tight end, 4 wide receiver.
I mean, Tampa, you can go Scotty Miller, Mike Evans,
okay. Tampa's the only one. Tampa's the only one. But they got a competent group over there. If Galladay can get it to fuck together for my fantasy team, but
try to send me that bullshit too. Yeah, right. Hey, JP, so
$18 million.
It feels great to be Parlay Pete in fantasy football this week, but go ahead.
So you were saying you don't think there's smoke in Seattle. How come?
Just because I believe in Disney World, and it's always seemed like a magical couple to me. And I guess I'm not looking into it hard enough. For one, I completely missed Pete Carroll calling out Russ. Maybe that's why I think there's no smoke. I'll hold my tongue on that since I don't know all the information out there.
All right. Well, we know there's, Green Bay has been smoky since the 2020 draft. I mean, it's on fire. It's on fire there. And I mean, Aaron Rodgers bounced back as expected. I wasn't worried, but there were some who were worried by Aaron Rodgers. I mean, one of his former teammates, Jermichael Finley, comes out and says, I don't think he works as hard as he used to. Well, he probably doesn't work as hard as he used to because he's better. So he doesn't have to work as hard to be great. He's more efficient with his time.
That's a fallacy, AI. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a non-championship winning fallacy. Okay, there's always room for improvement. But I'm sorry to interrupt.
That's fine. And then he said he could see Jordan Love starting by week 4. No. And then you got Bill Cowher calling him out and Nate Burleson calling him out. I understand why Nate Burleson would have smoke with Aaron Rodgers because he's a NFC North guy and he got beat up a lot by the Packers. But Aaron Rodgers, he went to his boy Pat McAfee and he kind of has some words for the media. And he's pretty much like, y'all are out here chasing blue checks. Y'all are out here trying to build your own celebrity, but the stuff that y'all try to build off of is terrible. They're just hot takes and it's not good substance. And as someone who's not a big consumer of ESPN, I see that, like, is the hot take sales. The Skip Bayless hot take sales. And I found it very interesting, though, because Colin on yesterday's show, Wednesday's show, he enjoyed kind of went in on Aaron. And to a point where it almost got, like, felt personal. And I go, hit dogs holler. But one of Colin's points was that he was like, my best stuff is not like my wild takes. People don't care about wild takes. And I go, maybe not from you, but I think the suits upstairs like the wild takes. Like if you listen to what Max Kellerman was saying on First Take before he got fired, did you listen to Skip Bayless, the show before you? And here's the wild things he says. Like LeBron is not a top 10 player all time. Like, I mean, there's a reason why Skip Bayless is one of the highest paid sports media guys, and Aaron Rodgers hates his guts because there are people who just say wild things that are just not true. So Aaron fires back at the media, and then the media gets mad, like, how dare you come at us? Like, I don't know. I'm just loving this new Aaron Rodgers with his long hair. He looks like he's stoned all the time, and he's just like his zen self. He just looks so happy. And then he just diced up. Then he diced up Detroit in the second half just because, you know, he could. And
he diced up Detroit.
Detroit's going to be competitive this year.
They're not going to be the pushover that they were last year. That's for sure.
No. Dan Campbell's coaching those boys up.
But this is what I'll say too. Which funny story about his hair. You know why he's growing his hair out?
Why?
No.
It's for Halloween.
Who's he going to be for Halloween?
I don't know. That's the question. He literally said that he's doing it for Halloween, and that it's somebody that he really looks up to that he's going to be. And he said that was the reason for the long hair. And so I have no idea who that could possibly be, but I just
Aaron
think
Rodgers is going to be the Joker.
His hair out for one day out of the year, and
he might be Heath Ledger Joker.
He's going to be the Joker.
You think?
That's the only thing I could see with that hair.
Yeah, could be.
I was for sure wondering why he was growing out his hair, because I'm like, dude, you look like you don't give a fuck right now. Like,
he looks, and if you notice too, he looks a little frailer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Definitely like he's trying to play meth for Halloween, to be honest.
Well, and that's what just makes it so interesting. At first, I was thinking he was going to be Matthew McConaughey in Dallas Buyers Club or something, but I don't know. But either way,
we'll find out in about 30 days.
Aaron's got all the right in the world to talk shit about the media. This man has nothing to prove anymore. Even with just one Super Bowl, he has nothing to prove. He goes down as one of the top, no matter what. He's one of the 10 greatest quarterbacks ever already. And everybody knows it. And anyone that's actually watched football for the last 2 decades, if you talk about who did you enjoy watching the most and who did you think was the best while watching, I always rank Peyton Manning first, because to me, from what I saw, Peyton Manning was the greatest quarterback I've ever seen play. Tom is the best quarterback ever. He's the greatest football player ever. We can all agree on that. He's the greatest. But in terms of if you were just watching the game, most people I would think you would say Peyton Manning. And then second, I would put Aaron Rodgers in terms of what I saw and just like the throws and then his style of play, because people forget how mobile Aaron Rodgers is. I got to see this man the year he won the Super Bowl come to Atlanta and beat us. We were the number 1 seed, 13-3. And wow, I mean, I couldn't fucking believe it. And it's unbelievable. But I think he has every right to kind of talk to the media the way that he wants, because the media talks about everybody the way that they want. So don't throw it if you know what I mean. If they can't handle what's being thrown at them, then what they're throwing, then don't do it. Like,
yeah, totally agree. They like to say, "You're a public figure. We can criticize you. You're also a public figure, media." And I have a First Amendment right too, there, bud.
But I had to go dig up some stats real quick, because my one thing about Aaron Rodgers that I would have him maybe not in my top 5 is his inability to play from behind, and it seems to be a mental thing. It's like when he gets down, he'll beat up on himself. So I just did the quickest research as I could. This was published January 22nd, 2017, so it's a little bit outdated, right? But
that sounds like after they got beat by us.
Probably.
That's not but it's true. That
Rodgers,
right. That's true.
And I'll check this again, and maybe the next time after I have time to research it, I'll let you know if it still holds true. But Rodgers has never won a game in which he trailed by more than 1 point in the fourth quarter.
That's an interesting stat.
I do know that Matt Ryan and Andy
35
Dalton
in these games.
Matt Ryan and Andy Dalton have more come from behind wins than Aaron Rodgers. So that's the one knock on Aaron Rodgers, because back in the day, Matt Ryan could come from behind. Now
he literally had
he's overcome a 1 point deficit 2 times, but never anything more than a 1 point deficit.
He literally had the most fourth quarter comebacks, and since
I'm sorry.
What you got?
Next line. So what does this mean ahead of Sunday's NFC Championship? Well, for one, the Packers can't afford to fall behind to the Falcons, particularly in the fourth quarter. This was published right before that game.
That game was over after Julio scored to start off the third quarter. It was like 31-0 or something.
Let me tell you a funny story about that game. I was at a Packers bar with a Michael Vick jersey on in San Diego. You know, I was just asking for hell. And as the game's tight, you know, you're talking shit back and forth, and it's fun. It's all friendly. Then once we go up, and then once we're winning, I'm in there doing the dirty bird. I'm just talking cash money shit. And this girl is like, fuck you, the Falcons suck. I'm like, yo, hey, dude, get your chick, bro. The Falcons are winning the game, so they don't suck. Like, we're not having an analytical football conversation at all. She's drunk and angry. I can't talk to her the way I want to because she's a woman. I respect women. Bro, get your girl. Then the security guard is like in my face, like, I lost a fucking $1,000 on this game. I'm like, what does that have to do with me? Like, I didn't coach the Falcons. I didn't play for the Falcons. Like, I just watched the game like you did.
I'm just from Georgia and support my hometown team.
So this dude the security guy kicks me out of the bar because he lost $1,000 on the game. And I'm like, dude, like, I'm going to leave here because you're security and you can tell the police whatever you want and they'll believe you over me. So I'm just going to go back to home base, drink for free, eat for free where I'm loved. So anyways, let's get to the worst rule in football. And I've listened to some people talk about this, and there's 2 rules that I really want to get into, and I want to know which one y'all think is worst. So this new NFL taunting penalty is a 15-yard personal foul penalty, and there have been as many taunting penalties through 2 weeks as there were all of last year already. I got that from Joy Taylor. And then in college, you have targeting. You have targeting where you have kids who are, for one, not the best of the best playing the game, so you don't expect them to be as precise tacklers as an NFL player. But the game is also boom, boom, and kids are getting 15-yard penalties and getting tossed from games. And even when they review it, whereas if it's subjective, it's like, get them out of here. And I understand player safety, and I understand not wanting players to get into fights, but there aren't many football fights. So here's what I think about these 2 rules. I think that they're nerds trying to impact athletics entirely too much, right? Because, and some of me even wants to say the taunting thing is racially motivated, but how can you take the emotion out of football? And how can you take some of the suddenness out of football? Like, I don't know if y'all saw in the it was the Auburn Penn State game where the kid gets tossed for targeting because the kid's about to go in the end zone, and the only way he could have hit him to keep him out of the end zone was to target. And there was like no context around it. And his reply was, what am I supposed to do? Let him score? So, JP, going to you first, man. Which one do you think is the worst rule and why?
I think taunting is worse by a long shot because, for one, I mean, the worst thing it does is affects the losing player's mental health, which a loss is going to do anyway. You know what I mean? Whereas that targeting, I think it's a bad rule. I don't think targeting is a bad rule. I think targeting is poorly enforced. I think there should be less targeting calls, and it should be more tailored to the quarterback and receivers coming across the middle. If you're a receiver and you've taken 2 steps and somebody whacks you, that shouldn't be targeting. I mean, if there's a clear effort to try. So a lot of these targeting calls are happening while for quarterbacks, they're taking an extra jump back. And so it's making them look like they're falling. All the angles change when the quarterback throws. It takes a little hop. You know what I mean? And then, but the taunting calls, I mean, I've seen a kid make a play and go, "Wah!" and he gets a taunting call. Even in the NFL, I'm just like, dude, as I said, there's no way to take emotion out of sports, but then where's the fun in it, you know?
I mean, hell, Lamar Jackson taunted twice and it didn't get called. Like when he flipped into the end zone, and then when he got the first down, he like celebrated. I'm like, oh, that looks like taunting.
Yeah, so like that flip in the end zone, they would have called that in college. They have been they've been a little bit more lenient with the taunting in the NFL. But I'm happy when they don't call the bullshit. Okay, I'm happy they let Lamar go without those taunting calls, XYZ. I prefer when these things are not called unless it's like a blatant targeting, like the guy let go of the ball and somebody wrecks the quarterback out of bounds, XYZ. And
kind of just piggyback off him. I mean, the targeting is, like you said, it's kind of subjective in a sense of, you know, we get it. Helmet hits helmet. Understood there. And from the safety standpoint, the optics of it, they want to make it seem like, hey, we're protecting the players. We're doing what we can. These guys are – that fucking head is getting brung no matter what. Because if you get hit and you hit the ground hard enough, that's fucking – at that point, is that not fucking targeting? If we're trying to get rid of it, the impact could be just as bad falling and hitting the ground like that. The ground's harder than the other person's helmet. Shit. I mean, that ground's not going to move. That helmet's going to move. And so, you know, I think that definitely the taunting is a little bit worse. And I think it's only worse because of this. A guy could be doing anything. Like you said, somebody could be saying, let's go. And then the flag comes out. And it's just kind of like, I mean, what are we supposed to be robots playing this game? You know what I mean? Or when we get a first down,
I've been there before.
Right. When we get a first down, you know, there shouldn't be any excitement that, damn, I just made a play for my team. You know what I mean? You know,
and that's crazy. They're calling college. They're calling it during the game.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous
because the kid turned around and was like this right through the end zone.
Now, look,
I mean, you're supposed to be able to high step in the end zone. You're supposed to be able to spike the ball. That is football.
And I think you put it in the group, JP. Now, if you do what William Gay did with the Steelers, now that was excessive. That is something that should be called. But
I missed it. What did he do?
Bro, he did a dance with somebody. They threw the flag. They called it. Then he did something with somebody else.
He just never stopped. You know the old NFL, bro, once they throw the flag, okay, they throw the flag for your celebration, that means don't stop celebrating because you're already getting the 15 yards.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, dude balled out, bro. He went crazy.
He did a second dance with somebody else, like where he did like a sword fighting. And then the next one, he got on the ground on his knees, and so did a coach, and they started like bear crawling to each other. It was if you can find it again, send it to the group so that he can see it, because you must not
last
seen
name
it.
Again?
It was hilarious. It was hilarious. And the caption was
Gay.
The caption was that he would have been ejected for that in today's NFL. And
sure.
Yeah, like because it was. I don't think I've seen a more excessive celebration ever, to be totally honest. And all he did was get an interception. That was it.
I got it coming after this 5-second ad.
That's what she said. So let's get into the week 2 recap, right? We're not getting to our report card yet. We're just going to recap week 2. So here's some of the big picture takeaways I got. It's a lot of hurt quarterbacks. We got Wentz now with both sprained ankles.
Man, that's such a surprise.
Just watch. You can keep talking, though.
Tua with broken ribs. Shocker again.
Oh, no. Okay, he did score. I didn't realize he scored.
Yeah, he scored. So first there's the flag.
Damn. So hold on. He did 4 dances because they didn't even show that. That wasn't even the one they showed him in the end zone.
Yeah, that's why I say keep watching. This one's a minute. Yeah. So, no, this is where the first flag comes, I think. Because that was a little bit extra. Okay, there's dance number 3.
Really, that's the 3rd dance.
And he's holding the ball, too. He's taking that with
my
him.
guy, AB.
Here it is.
He's not stopping. He is not stopping.
What was the point of that? Like,
I mean, you know, that's the type of shit Tom was running.
Touchdown, dude. They don't give a fuck about penalties. It's all it. Make the field goal kicker 15 yards further away. Whatever. That's what the extra point is now.
Right. I mean, and hell, he's a defender. I don't blame him. So, yeah, hurt quarterbacks, man. We got Wentz. We got Tua. We got Ben with a hurt pec, but he still might play. Andy Dalton's hurt. Tyrod Taylor's hurt. Fitzy's already hurt. Is Cam Newton going to get a call?
I doubt it.
Absolutely not.
I doubt it.
He should.
I also want to point out that none of these 6 hurt quarterbacks are from any kind of targeting. It's just natural gameplay. It couldn't be avoided.
I mean, yeah. Carson Wentz could have avoided his by just staying in the pocket and throwing the ball away.
Carson Wentz could not have avoided it. He was going to get hurt anyway. Hell, he might have celebrated a touchdown and got hurt for all I know. And
the Dolphins might be in the best. The Dolphins and the Bears may be in the best case scenario now because they might have the better quarterback on the field.
I don't know if Brissett's better than Tua.
Fuck no.
I'm not ready to call that yet, but
the line hasn't changed.
Well, we know for a fact with Chicago, this is what the Bears organization, his teammates, and the fans want, and the league.
Everybody except for Matt Nagy wanted it,
and Andy Dalton himself, of course. But outside of that, that's what everybody wanted.
Is anybody expecting Fields to be great this year, though?
No,
Okay.
they don't have.
I'm not.
I'm looking for flashes. I'm looking for him to like get beat up and then can maintain his confidence. But like, I don't expect any of these rookies to be great. The only two rookies I expect to have like an impact that may matter is Mac Jones because of the infrastructure around him, and Trey Lance because they're on good teams.
Yeah, they've got talent and they've got established head coaches. Something that those other teams don't have. None of these other teams have a head coach that has taken their team to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, they don't
None
have
of
Urban.
them. But Bill and Kyle have both been to a Super Bowl. You know, obviously with Bill winning 6 of them, but and then 2 as a D coordinator. But point being, you know, it's unfortunate. I think it's good for the league from that sense, but it is bad for the league for guys going down so early, and it happens every year. But typically not at the quarterback position do you have this many injuries to kick off a season, you know, within the first 2 weeks, the first quarter of the season.
Is it too early to
never
say?
Had this like new quarterback starting.
Is it too early to say Colin Kaepernick?
That died the day that he took the knee. We knew that he was never going to get another shot, even when they had set up that open.
He is a top quarterback in Madden, though. Just throwing that out there. He's on the Madden game, and he's very good.
He's better than Kirk Cousins, like a bunch of quarterbacks. Like it's like at least like 15 starting quarterbacks he's ranked higher than.
Question: if Matt Ryan gets hurt this in the next week or two,
they're going to sign Cam Newton.
Will that be the best case scenario for the Falcons so that we could pick at the top of the draft again?
I don't like that question, Lee. I'm gonna be honest.
and I'm not wishing a life-threatening injury on Matt Ryan. I'm just saying you missed like 6 games, you know.
I think that the way that they've looked so far, that's gonna be inevitable, regardless of if he's healthy or not. And so, you know, they already picked 4th last year. I can't really think of but maybe 2 teams that are worse than us so far, just through 2 weeks. The Jags and the Jets. Yeah, those are the only 2 teams I could say. And you know what's funny? We played both of them this year, and we also play the Lions too. So we've got some games that we should win, but Lions will probably beat us. Low-key.
Yeah, how about to say?
They're better than us. I can't say the same for the Jets or the Jags, though. But then again, hell, the Jets play the Panthers type. So
I mean, but the Jets, Zach Wilson also threw 4 picks because I told y'all Belichick was going to eat him alive last week. A couple of other things from week 2. Patrick Mahomes falling to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson came back in the 4th quarter, which is something that he hasn't historically done. And Patrick Mahomes lost his first game to one of the young AFC quarterbacks. Is this a big step for Lamar? Do we think he finally gets his big contract because of this game?
He's going to get the contract regardless, just because you can't afford no quarterback leaves after their rookie year that's certainly an MVP. You know, you never let a quarterback walk like that. I know that Aaron Rodgers was seeming like he might have becoming the first one to do it, because think about it, no quarterback has ever, you know, changed teams after an MVP season or like, you know, not far removed from an MVP. And I know that Cam, I guess, to a degree, but Cam was always getting hurt. But point being, no, I think that the contract was already sewed up. The question is the terms on it. How much guaranteed money? How much are they going to really commit to him was the biggest thing to me. I believe in Lamar as a player. He literally, if there's ever been a player that I feel like I'm watching Michael Vick again, and especially being somebody that saw Mike Vick play like for years, he, to me, is a more refined version of the Falcons version. I don't put him in that Eagles category of him because he's so much more of an elusive runner. And Vic was still running with the Eagles then, but like, you know, with the Falcons, he was really doing that running shit. Like it was just like Lamar. Like at any point in the game, he could just take over like that. But you know, Vic also sucked dick at passing, which every Atlanta Falcons, I don't know why black people in Atlanta want to act like Mike Vick was a fucking terrible quarterback. He was terrible throwing the ball.
This is coming from the guy that praises Matt Ryan, though. So I don't know.
Matt Ryan's an MVP.
I didn't watch him play every weekend, but I liked him. You know?
I like Vic. No, look, I had a Michael Vick jersey too. Look, I'm a Michael Vick fan. I am a Michael Vick fan. I have no choice but to be a Michael Vick fan. All I'm saying is
Michael Vick slander. It's kind of sound like you're slandering his throwing arm, but I'll let
because he couldn't throw. He couldn't throw.
But I'm okay. So in fairness, because what I was going to add to it is the fact that I think Lamar gets paid, but as a crazy paycheck, the man has to have a 300-yard passing game first. Otherwise, he's just a running back that can throw. And he's going to get paid. He's going to get paid like that. He's going to get paid in between quarterback and running back until he shows that he could throw for 300 yards and run for 100.
So a little spin off of this Lamar thing. Do you think the Giants would be a better football team if they adopted the Ravens offense instead of trying to run a more traditional offense? Because Daniel Jones is actually fast as hell.
No.
Yeah, because then it becomes a little bit predictable. But with Daniel Jones, this is why he's so successful running the ball. Nobody's planning for it. Like nobody's planning for it, and you don't have that that QB spy or anything for it because nobody's expecting it. And because of how good Saquon was for 1 year, you're basically if he sets up and he's handing it off to him, but he's really about to turn around and run upfield, nobody's expecting that. Everybody's going to give that attention to the other side of the field where the receivers are and where the running back looks like he's going. So if he bootlegs in a play action type of bootleg and just runs out to the other side, it's going to be tough to guard that. So I don't think that they need to adopt an offense like that because he's not that fast. He's not Lamar.
He's not Lamar fast.
He's not Lamar, no, but on that run where he tripped last year, that was, I want to say, in the top 5, top 10, fastest run.
He also proved that he could not maintain that speed.
Let me tell you what type of
he got there. What type of speed. Anybody can run forward until they fall over, but
the type of speed that Daniel Jones has reminds me of when Aaron Rodgers would run the ball. It's like that.
He's got tall speed.
Sneaky good.
His legs aren't moving extra fast. He's taking really long strides. Every step the man takes is 4 yards.
Just throwing something out there. One victory lap that I'm going to take, and even though they won 35-0, Josh Allen is turning back into Josh Allen like I told you all he would. He's not top 2. He's not top 3.
He's not the MVP this year.
He's not Derek Carr. I'm sorry. He's back to Josh Allen. Fling it, and it may land close to the receiver. Ben is cooked. Ben is cooked.
Woo.
I mean,
he was cooked 2 years ago.
Yeah, yeah. Is there anything else from week 2 y'all want to talk about? Are we impressed with Kyler? Are we taking Cliff Kings very seriously? Are the Raiders legitimate, or are they just John Gruden's Raiders? Anything?
I tell you what, I'll lead off with the Raiders. I'm drinking their Kool-Aid, and I'll tell you why. At the end of the day, even though Ben's cooked, and I guess he hurt his pec, and the Ravens are missing all those running backs, it's a pretty impressive first 2 games to win. It is. It's a pretty impressive game. Those are 2 good defenses at the end of the day. 2 of the top 10 defenses in the NFL. And nobody would disagree with that with 2 great coaches in the NFL. And so I'm drinking the Kool-Aid because Derek Carr is playing really good football. They've got balance. It feels like they've got balance. Darren Waller is, of course, a monster. And that defense looks so much better this year. It looks so much better. The Falcons, and I'm going to keep bringing the Falcons up, guys, because I have to. The Falcons scored 43 points on them last year. And they were 6-6 needing to win that game that they played against us. Our season was already done. That looks like a completely different team that I've watched. And I know that they started 2-0, I think, the last 2 years, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think that they played as impressive opponents as they've gone through now. And then this week, they get a slaughter with the Miami Dolphins with the backup quarterback, even though Brissett's a guy that, he's a very serviceable backup.
Take Miami. I think they're plus 3.5. Take Miami plus 3.5, baby.
That was JP last week. But
I say, don't do it again, JP. Don't do it again.
No. I think that extra week of the NFL this year was just given to Vegas. It was gifted to Vegas. I said, Vegas, week 1, we're going to let you guys do whatever the fuck you want. Just give us a script.
All right, so let's get to the week 3 preview. I think we got 2 big matchups that really stick out to me. Really I'll say there's 4 important games, but 2 really big ones. We're going to look at the Packers and the 49ers. I think it's going to let us know who the Packers are. Although the 49ers have lost like 7 running backs in 7 days, I think the scheme overall will prevail. And the Packers aren't physical. And we saw they struggled with a more physical Detroit team in the first half. And, in the last time they played each other.
They could be thrown on.
Last time they played each other healthy in the NFC Championship, the Packers got boat raced as they got boat raced again that same season in the regular season. So 49ers Packers, man, I think carefree Aaron in his Zen self is going to go out here and give them 350 and 3 or 4 tubs. But that's just me rooting for Aaron, and he's on my fantasy team.
Oh, which, you know what? Speaking of fantasy, before I even get into that, that was a beautiful comeback, Lee. I mean, I thought you were dead in the water. The fact that you were down 50, I don't remember, it was 50-something points and you came back. I literally, the whole time.
It was Aaron Jones, wasn't it?
Aaron Jones and Aaron
Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers kept throwing the ball to Aaron Jones. Every time that Aaron Jones scored a touchdown, it was a product of Aaron Rodgers, except he had 3 receiving touchdowns and 1 rushing, right?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
I mean, it couldn't have been scripted any better for you. And even though the Packers D was lacking in the first half, I don't think that you lost any points in the second half with it. So,
no, I picked up a couple points.
Exactly. A couple sacks, they got a pick. So, yeah, bravo. But I'm looking forward to that matchup more than anything, just because obviously it's a rematch from 2 years ago, NFC Championship. You got a 49ers team that, even though Mostert's out, and that's pretty much the only guy missing, from that 49ers team that did go to the Super Bowl, that went to the Super Bowl.
Tevin Coleman.
It's pretty much the same team. They're 2-0. They played their first 2 games on the road. So their fans, if I'm not mistaken, California, they didn't have fans at all at any of the games for any of the teams.
God, no, you could barely go to the grocery store out there.
This is going to be the 49ers. This is going to be the 49ers' first game with fans in basically 2 years. And so I think the crowd's going to be pumped up. Sunday Night Football, you got Al Michaels on the call. I think it's going to be a great game, and it is going to come down to probably who has the ball last.
We might have to double check on that because I actually don't know. They might still not be allowing that. I know at SoFi Stadium you got to be 100% vaccinated. I know that.
They're allowed it because the Rams had a full house,
and they
but
had
LA County is completely different
yeah.
from San Francisco.
So up there in Santa Clara County, it was super tight last year, but they did have some people at the away game. I had one of my homeboys from Monterey. He went to a away game. He went to a preseason game up there.
Okay.
So we got Al and Collinsworth on the call, baby.
Yep.
Put it right on mute. Watch the game. You got anything on this game, JP? Or are you ready to jump to Rams Bucks?
I'm ready to jump to Rams Bucks. I'm ready for
Clash
Aaron,
of the Titans. Let me walk back Tampa Bay not winning the NFC South, okay? They are clicking on offense. Brady is putting together an MVP-esque season, and they're going to meet one of his other MVP, his MVP competition, Super Bowl competition, the LA Rams. I'm picking against Brady because that's what I do. And their defense hasn't impressed me. And I know Jay Ram will take one of his receivers out. He will lock up one of those receivers. And
I think Jay Ram is taking a note down like, I want to pick off the greatest player ever. I think that's the kind of dude that Jalen Ramsey is. He wants to compete. He wants to play.
And are the Bucs
receiver.
looking forward to Week 4 going into Foxborough? They could be.
It could be. But there's another thing to note here, too. I mean, all you got to do is look at all the Super Bowls that Brady's lost. Every Super Bowl that Brady's lost, what happens?
Good interior pass rush.
Oh, yeah. And who do they get?
AD, baby.
Oh, boy. I hope that, and let me tell you, I respect
Tom Brady's too old to take that hit. He's going to throw it away.
I respect the hell out of Tom Brady.
Day.
Let me tell you, I can't wait for them to tee off on him. I really can't. I hate Tom Brady, but I only hate Tom Brady for one reason.
Tom, I love you if you ever see this.
I sports hate the hell out of Tom Brady too. 28-3, I'll never get over that.
I
was on the other side of that. So, I mean, the hate you guys for him,
you.
love I got. He's a Michigan man. Go Blue.
Fuck you and Tom Brady. I hate Tom Brady. So I can't wait to see Aaron Donald tee off up the middle and them not really having an answer for it, because then once he's got to throw quick, then you do have Jalen Ramsey sitting there. Wait, he's going to be down AB. There's no AB because he's on the COVID list.
That's not 100% yet because he's vaccinated, so he just has to have 2 negative tests within 24 hours. Totally possible, but it is a long shot.
Regardless, and which would mean too, because they would have to be leaving tonight.
Yeah,
they're probably leaving tonight to go to LA.
Yeah,
because I would think. But regardless, I think that's going to be a great game. I personally, and I guess I will wait until the picks for me to kind of unveil who I got, even though I'm kind of telling it. but I think it's going to be a good game. Definitely so far through 2 weeks, and then kind of on paper, just what we kind of all were thinking. It's kind of coming together that these are the 2 best teams in the NFC, and outside of maybe the Chiefs, even though Chiefs just lost, but probably the 2 best teams in the NFL with all that talent. And I'm looking forward to that. But I do think that it's going to be an uphill climb for Brady in this game because he's not going to face a better defense all year. And this will be the true measuring stick to me for that, because obviously nobody's drinking the Carolina Kool-Aid. I'm not. I think they're going to win tonight, but I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid. But and they've got the number 1 rated defense, which I have them in fantasy. But nonetheless, I don't think that that's a real challenge for the Bucs. The Saints clearly aren't a real challenge for the Bucs, and of course, the Falcons aren't a challenge for the Bucs, as we saw on Sunday.
I mean, we were into the fourth quarter.
Huh?
We were into the fourth quarter. Then Matt started.
9 minutes left. 3-point game. 3-point game. The cover was there, and it cost me $75,000. Shit happens, man. Shit happens. It's crazy.
That one was one though that it was just like, for one, I'm thinking Falcons money line. I'm thinking there's an upset this week. Falcons are going to pull it off. But gee, I mean, that one hurt my heart to see that. They all hurt my heart, but that one, I just know that it hurt you even more to get everything. But
because it was so personal. It was personal because I want the Falcons to win, and then obviously everybody knows I'm a Matt Ryan fan. I can't put my favorite squad on a parlay for that much. I'll just leave them off like I'm not breaking my heart. And I'm a Matt Ryan fan, and of course he's my fan. He was my fantasy quarterback, so like it just was bad all around for me. It didn't. There was no. I won. I lost so much right there.
All right, so another big matchup I think we have Chiefs and Chargers. I don't know what the Chargers are yet. They're obviously 1-1. Brandon Staley's a rookie coach. Patrick Mahomes has never lost 2 games in a row. But if we think the Buccaneers are one of the best teams in the league, and Dallas damn near played them to a draw, and then the Chargers played Dallas to a draw. Last second field goal. And really outplayed Dallas, if we're being honest. Like they just had some major mess ups. Can the LA Chargers maybe show up and give Patty Mahomes his first 2-game losing streak of his career?
The Chiefs did not lose without obnoxious turnovers, bro. And Patrick Mahomes usually is going to be the one turning the ball over. So without fumbles, I don't see it happening. I mean, it's hard to predict a bunch of fumbles, but the Chargers better be working on punching that ball out this weekend.
And they spotted them 7 points. The Ravens spotted the Chiefs 7 points to kick off the game. It was crazy, but no, I agree with him. I think that at the end of the day, Chiefs they're not falling to 1 and 2. They're not falling to 1 and 2. The Chargers, they obviously have talent, but no.
Does anybody care about the Colts and Titans game?
I do. I love the Titans. Okay, I don't know if you guys know, but my Super Bowl winner this year is the Titans. I got a grand down on that to win $25,000. This first week scared the hell out of me, but I mean Wentz isn't playing, so the Colts are working with another QB. I don't see any way that they come up with a way to outscore the Titans. Not that the Titans have showed their best football in all their games, but
Let me tell you, too, this game is so important for the Colts. It's not even funny. Not only because you don't want to fall 0-3, but those first 2 losses that they took were at home. They've got 3 straight road games. It could get real ugly in Indy, especially if they're not competitive, because they were competitive in the first 2 games. They lost both of those games by one score. And, boy, I mean, things could really come from up under them if they lose. So it's really is a must win for them. I mean, it gets really ugly after this.
I mean, most people don't even know where Indianapolis is on the map. So whatever.
Brett Hundley's taking the majority of the snaps this week over the Sam Ellinger and Jacob Eason. So yeah.
I mean, I don't blame him for wanting to get somebody with some experience of playing in football games.
Do you remember what Brett Hundley looked like when he quarterbacked the Packers?
He's dog shit. He's dog shit with the Packers.
Maybe the Colts are who need to hire Cam Newton.
Yeah,
or Nick Foles, you know, the guy who the head coach, he was his coordinator when they won the Super Bowl.
Well, you know, he's backing up Justin Fields this week. They got to have that insurance policy in Chicago.
All right, man. So as we're getting close to the hour point and we have the game getting ready to kick off, how did we do last week?
We did fantastic. College football, we went 4-1-1. The only loss being Oklahoma's sorry ass. They're not winning anything. Maybe they'll win the Big 12. I don't know. I don't even care because it doesn't matter. They're not contenders. They were the only ones that didn't win. Clemson was a push because I took 7. Just because that was the spread. Obviously, if you could have got an alternative, I would have did 6.5. I knew they'd be up a touchdown. But outside of that, right across the board. And then in the NFL, we went 5-1 with the glaring one being the Falcons, of course. And so it was a great bounce back week for me in terms of the picks here that we give away for free.
Yeah, and over on my side, it was terrible. I went 1 for 5. I did beat Pete's first week of 0-6. I'm just going to throw that out there. But I was also, as I said last week, I was going counterintuitive on just about everything. So I could almost say that I went 5-1. I don't know how the fuck that Chargers money line didn't pull out. That was the sweetest value on the Dallas Cowboys I have ever seen. Like, I mean, if I didn't believe in fixes, I would have easily bet 10,000 on the Cowboys. Like,
yeah. But see, that was why I had to take the Cowboys. It's just no way. I couldn't.
Yeah, but you know, in this parlay game, I try not to say it's no way. As soon as I see a lock or I feel that there's no way and the odds don't represent that, I leave it alone.
I couldn't imagine, the way that they played against the defending champs on opening night, Dak looking like Dak, and then having basically a half a bye week because they played Thursday, so they weren't, So to me, that helped more game planning. They probably, if they wanted to, or maybe they did do this as a team, they could have been at the facility together on Sunday watching the game as it was live. Like, you know what I mean? I felt like that could have been something. I took the over. I think this game's going over.
I try not to interrupt you guys with the pictures. I just want it to be there so you can see it.
Nah.
Davis Mills' neck is fucking long as hell.
Davis Mills.
Okay, so let's get into this week's picks.
Pete, would you like to go first, or you like your boy to handle it?
We're going to do college first, right?
Yeah, let's go ahead and knock out your college picks.
All right. Kicking off the week, we've got some really, really good stuff. Like I said, 4-1-1 last week. Let's kick it off with something spicy and easy.
I'm taking some notes down. This guy's hot.
Give me Boise State at Utah State -9. Utah State is atrocious. Boise State is looking to bounce back. They are going to cover this spread. This is a gimme pick for anyone that loves blowouts. I would take it by more if I could. Well, I can, but no reason to get greedy. Just give me the 9. They'll win by 10.
I would take it by more if I could. Well, I can, but no reason to be greedy.
All right. There's no reason to do that. I don't want to put a number on it. I want to play the number they're giving me. And so,
oxymoron was a sentence.
Next up, we got another one. I know that everybody thinks that Clemson's done because of just how they've looked. They haven't looked good. That defense is still great, though. And that's what people need to realize. They're playing an NC State team that got their ass washed by Mississippi State. Clemson is going to show up. They're going to have that game of, oh, okay, there they are. There's DJ Uiagalelei. This is the team that we thought that they were going to be. And this is why I love it when a team struggles. They set the line low. Give me Clemson minus 9.5 at NC State. They're going to cover that spread because, like I said, if they weren't playing as bad as they were, this would easily be a 16-17. They've knocked at least a touchdown off of this just because of how they looked last week against Georgia Tech. It coming down to the wire. They could have really lost that game to Tech. Let's see, another one. We got Iowa first quarter spread minus 6.5 against Colorado State. Another washed up, beat up team that is terrible.
Minus 6.5.
Minus 6.5 is the
Let me put a note in there. When Parlay Pete does the first quarter bet, you follow, okay?
Oh no, the first quarter.
I just want to let the people out there know.
First quarters are the easiest money, and that's why Alabama, they didn't cover the game, but who told you to go first quarter 3.5? Easy money, 21-3. And literally on that one, the crazy part is that everybody kind of looked at it, and I said what I said. I said maximum amount of points that Florida scores in this first quarter is 3. I said minimum amount that Alabama scores is 7. It's easy. But yeah, Iowa first quarter minus 6.5 against Colorado State. Another first quarter bet. Give me the Dogs of UGA against Vanderbilt minus 7.5 against minus 7.5 against Vanderbilt. It's even money. Georgia's going to kick the shit out of Vanderbilt, just like they did South Carolina last week. They're going to kick the shit out of them. This is a really bad team, guys. I can't believe that they're giving this number, to be totally honest with you, because you're basically saying if you take the other side that Georgia won't score over a touchdown. And I know that Georgia's not giving up points to Vanderbilt. Everybody knows that. Let's see. What are we? We're 4 through?
Yep.
All right. Because I got a couple on here, so I'm just trying to make the best decision of what I want to do out. Next one. Let's go UCLA money line at Stanford. Stanford's looked really good this year. They've looked really good this year. But UCLA, if they're going to have that breakthrough that Chip Kelly's supposed to have in year 4 or 5, now that he's gotten his whole recruiting class and cycled through in Southern California, you got to win games like this against a Stanford team that's not that good. You got to win games like this.
USC's us.
Well, and you would think USC would be more talented, but UCLA, they kind of proved it earlier this year. I know they had a bad loss, but Fresno State's pretty good too.
Yeah,
and
they
I think
are.
that a lot of people didn't realize that's actually a good team. And they put plenty of guys in the NFL, Derek Carr, Devontae Adams. They put guys in the league, so they're good.
Oh, George.
And then my final one, I was battling between if I wanted to give you some easy money lines or a really good spread. So I'm going to just take the spread because fuck it. Let's go Buffalo at Old Dominion minus 13.5. Buffalo should cream them. Old Dominion is, I know that they're the fighting Taylor Heineke's, and, he's a good story. Everybody loves seeing Taylor Heineke win games like he did Thursday night that cost me $50,000. It fucking happened. Did it not happen, JP?
But yeah, to recap, this week there was $125,000 left on the table between the New York Giants losing by 1 point and the Falcons not covering a 14-point spread.
Well, let's call it how it really is. 2 pick sixes by Matt Ryan and a false start. No, and an offsides call on a missed field goal against Washington.
I don't know if you want to write to your
or a phantom holding call on Mac Jones'
false start call or that offsides call. You guys should look at that again. It was almost like too perfectly timed of a jump, and therefore the ref threw the flag because
he moved before the rest of his teammates. He moved for the rest of his teammates, but. That's pretty much it on our college slate. And I can even give you a bonus one if you want, just because it's free money. Give me Iowa State money line at Baylor. Matt Campbell's got those boys. They're going to be playing a little bit better. Baylor is not back to Baylor that it was with Art Briles.
Well, then
Waco ain't been the same since Major Parlay left, man.
All right, Major Parlay. Let's get to your Week 3 NFL bets.
All right. So I'm going to start off right there, Las Vegas Raiders money line. I got them on the Dolphins. Last week I picked the Dolphins plus 3.5 versus the Bills. I thought Vegas was doing some funny shit. They weren't. The Bills creamed them 35-0 like they were supposed to. I see the Raiders doing something similar. Next, I have the Tennessee Titans beating the Colts. Colts are playing with what's his name again? Exactly. All right, cool. So I don't see them outscoring the Titans. I'm definitely. I mean, if the Cowboys beat the Chargers, I gotta ride with the Cowboys this week. Only reason I didn't ride with them last week, once again, was because I was being counterintuitive. We're not doing that shit this week.
Are we taking money lines or recovering?
I'm taking money lines on all of these, to be honest with you. I'm not losing by half a point, okay? I'm taking money lines everywhere.
Gotcha.
And then I got 2 unders. I like the under in the Vegas versus Dolphins game. One, because the Dolphins are playing with Brissett, and I don't see him putting up many points against that Raiders defense. But I also know that the Dolphins have a great defense, and I don't know how much that tight end-based attack with Jacobs feeling a little iffy is how effective that's going to be against the Dolphins. I expect them to win, but I expect the game to go under 44.5. And then the last thing on my 6-pack is going to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Los Angeles Rams. I'm going to give you this one with a grain of salt because you essentially have 2 top 5 defenses, and they got the over-under at 55. Tom Brady's going to be playing on the West Coast, so it's going to be the game starts at 4:45. It's going to be like more 7:35 his time. I know Tom Brady not be that good of a player after 9 o'clock Eastern. So I got the Rams, but that's not on my picks. I'm just going to take the under in the game because I think that between those 2 defenses, one of them should stop the other team from scoring 24 points.
I like it.
I missed one. This is going to be your favorite one, Pi. I got the Falcons winning in New York this weekend.
Oh, man.
And if I didn't have to go to Vegas, I might come to New York with you for that one. But
I am not touching that game with a 10-foot pole. I can't go through that anxiety anymore.
Are you going to the game?
Yeah. I'm looking to fly up there. I'm either fly up there tomorrow or Saturday. I haven't decided yet, but hopefully tomorrow. I got some stuff I got to do in the morning, but
let me know when you're at the airport, bro. We might be in that joint together.
Oh, for sure. And then of course, gotta get my baby up there. But let's do this. I wanted to give a good little mix of stuff here.
Okay.
So I got, let's see, I want to count it up. I've got 3 underdogs.
Okay.
And they're not true dogs, in my opinion. They're not really dogs. But I like them as dogs. Let's start off at the top. I got the Arizona Cardinals and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Give me the under 52 here. I don't see Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars really scoring any points. The Cardinals defense has been pretty good so far. I know that the Vikings kind of torched them a little bit, but the Vikings also have probably one of the best
weapons.
The Vikings aren't a bad team. They just lost 2 games, but they're not a bad team.
Yeah, I tell you what, that's an overreaction of an 0-2. They're a lot better than their record is. But give me the under there. I just don't see the points, and I think that if there is something that Jacksonville will hang their hat on is that their defense isn't awful, like god awful. You know what I mean?
Head coach is.
Yes, that's true. But he gets his 3rd game, and they're at home. So and Arizona's traveling from the West Coast. So give me the under 52. Next game, let me get the Titans on the spread. I love the Titans at 5.5 against the Colts. I just think that it's one of those things where the Colts, they're down bad right now. You know, like you said, Carson Wentz, it doesn't sound like he's going to play. And if Brent Hundley's been taking the snaps, oh my God, what are the Titans going to do to them? Should be an easy spread. Honestly, I would take more on it if I could, and I can, but I won't. No, I'll take the 5.5. Next game, let me get the Minnesota Vikings money line against Seattle. I think that Pete's comments are a little too much. I think Russ is going to ball out because the Vikings defense, they were without Anthony Barr and Everson Griffin last week. I don't know if they're back. But regardless, they're at home in a must-win game because you don't want to get too far behind Green Bay, which leads into my next pick. I'm going to take the Packers against the 49ers money line. I think that Aaron's got back on track, and he's the kind of guy that likes to, show up on primetime games. He did it on Monday Night Football. He's got another opportunity here against a team that's 2-0. That's a true test, what people would consider a contender in the NFC. Let me take the Packers. Then I'm taking another tough game here. Give me the Rams. Like I kind of hinted earlier on in the show, I really do like Aaron Donald and that defensive line's matchup against Tom Brady and the Bucs, especially if AB is out. As many weapons as Tampa has, they got to travel to the West Coast against what I would say is probably the best defense in the NFL with the crowd. And then now finally, not that Jared Goff wasn't a competent quarterback, but a game-changing quarterback, a guy that can make all the throws, a guy that
coach on the field
will be able to move the ball. If the Falcons were able to move the ball on the Bucs and get 25, I really like the Rams' chances too, especially with McVay making the play calls. And then my final game of the six-pack.
At least first.
Let me go ahead and get the Cowboys on the spread at -3.5. I am not a believer in the Eagles. I know that they played the 49ers really tough, but they're coming on the road. I think that this is going to be kind of the game where Dallas asserts its dominance in the NFC and says that this is our division. Dak's back. We don't have to worry about this anymore because we know that you guys can't score as many points as us. Jalen Hurts had one good game against a very bad defense. You know that the Falcons have given up more points than anyone in the NFL this year.
Not shocked.
Yeah, I was about to say the surprise factor here.
And it's the most. They've never in the history of the Falcons have they given up this many points in back-to-back games, which is kind of astounding because we've had a bad defense for the last decade and a half. But the fact that this is the worst two-game run in team history says a lot. So I don't believe in Jalen Hurts. Give me Dak and the Cowboys getting it done.
The Eagles scored 22 though, isn't it?
You said who?
The Eagles scored 22 against you guys?
32.
Oh, okay. We missed that last 10 points.
Then Tampa gave us a 48 burger.
And Brady threw for 5. But hey, look, the game started, guys. So I'm going to let you all go. Let me go over the picks real quick. So for Parlay Pete's college six-pack, we got Boise and Utah State. You're taking Boise -9. You're taking in the Clemson and NC State game, you're taking Clemson -9.5. We got Iowa first quarter -6.5. We got UGA -7.5. That's first quarter versus Vandy. UCLA money line at Stanford. Buffalo -13.5 over ODU, and Iowa State money line against Baylor. Major parlay for your NFL picks. We got Las Vegas Raiders money line. We got the Titans money line. We got the Cowboys money line. We got, the Vegas versus Dolphins under 44.5. Tampa versus the Rams, we got the under there. And the Falcons versus New York, we're taking the Falcons money line. Hey, what's that under for Tampa and LA?
55.5.
55.5. All right. And then to close out, we got Parlay Pete's NFL six-pack. Arizona versus the Jags under 52. We're taking Titans -5.5. We're taking Vikings money line. We're taking the Packers money line. We're taking the Rams money line. And we're taking the Cowboys to cover at -3.5.
Yes, sir.
All right, man. Thank you, guys.
Money making weekend.
Let's get it. Y'all have a good weekend. I'll talk to y'all in the group text. And I'm about to close out talking about these conveniently capitalist owners.
All right. Thank you for having us again. Look forward to being back next week.
Look forward to 18-0 week on these picks. Let's go, Pete.
Rise up.
Get it. All right, so to close out, I want to talk about the conveniently capitalist owners, right? So in America, we love our business. We love free markets. We want to maximize the amount of profit that we can make in our business. And so that's what a lot of these NFL owners are doing. And as Americans, we love to push back on socialism or socialist type policies that affect business. And I tell you, in sports, it's so crazy because what we do is we become conveniently capitalist or conveniently socialist, depending on how it fits what we want, right? We say, well, the owner can do what they want. They can cut the players because the owner is trying to get the most value for the player. Yeah, but there's a salary cap. The owners want the market to dictate. And when they're doing these TV rights, right? They want the market to dictate with their other businesses. They want the market to dictate with their ticket prices, their concession prices, but you don't want the market to dictate the price of labor. Oh, why? Because your labor is what is the draw, right? So we put in these a rookie pay scale, right? We say by position, if you get franchise, you can only make this much money. Like the franchise tag, are we serious? There's nothing capitalist about the franchise tag. There is nothing capitalist about a rookie pay scale. There is nothing capitalist about those things. There's nothing capitalist about a salary cap. Like, you can only make this much money in this industry, or you can only spend this much money in this industry. So the player who is trying to be a capitalist, right? You want to poo-poo the player for wanting to leave and make more money, or wanting to hit the market to make more money, or not taking a team-friendly deal because he wants more money. I find that interesting, man. If you're going to be a convenient capitalist, be a convenient capitalist. But say that. Just say you want things to work the way that you want them to work when you want them to work that way, instead of you just subscribe to a certain way of life, a way of thinking. And to hell with the owners, man. They're I mean, look at the CBA. Look at how they jerk the players around on the CBA. But it's okay. We always point our fingers at the laborers, because you know what? You're supposed to be at the bottom, and you're supposed to take the crumbs that are given to you. Hope you enjoy our picks. Hope you have a great football weekend. Sorry to end on a somber note, but you know what? It gets annoying sometimes when you see what these owners do. Have a good weekend, y'all. Big baby out.